Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone that is watching us on the Facebook page. Continue liking the page. Thank you. We really are grateful that you keep us company. It is a Saturday afternoon, and we meet here for the show Islam Now. I'm called Ashabajra in the studios, and we have Akampo, a good friend, in the studios. Akampo, please say hello to those that are viewing us.
Good afternoon, viewers. We are so happy to be with you this afternoon.
Thank you. Now, this show looks at the major international events that are making news, of course, in the course of the week, and we relate them to Islam and Muslims. We look at their effects, the effects that they have on Islam. And today we are looking at the USA. There was a debate on Tuesday in America between the two presidential candidates, one the Republican and the Democrat. For them, they failed two candidates normally for the longest time that those that watch the American politics have seen. And there was a debate. Of course, they meet weeks before the presidential election, and each of them fronts their views and they rebut, and it's for those that love debating, it's fun. For those of us that may not know much about the US, it is a country in the continent of North America. It is bordered by Canada in the north, and there is Mexico in the south. There is the Pacific Ocean on one side of the border and Atlantic Ocean on the other end. The president is Donald Trump, and they achieved independence in 1776. According to the population statistics of 2019, the USA has 328 million people. Now, on the debate, we are going straight to the debate. How did you view the debate? What are your opinions?
Well, of course, it was a boring one. I think for the debates I've seen, I've had an opportunity to see about 4 of them in the 4 races, of course, previous races, and this I think was the worst. It was even worse than the previous one where Trump had stood. Yeah.
You think it's worse because of the Trump effect?
Of course, one I must say he's not. His character, like when he's debating, is not good. Then now this time he has someone who would engage him or say provoke him. Unlike the previous one where Clinton would be busy articulating issues, this and the other, and then drags Trump to also maybe the same corner of articulating issues and trying to convince Americans and maybe even those living outside America, but following their politics this time around. And then, of course, I think at one point Trump forgets that he's a presidential candidate. He forgets and maybe submits as if he is a president authoritatively, and he thinks he has all the authority, which is of course not true, much as of course it's the fact. But at that point, he's a presidential candidate. And that's what brings in the arrogance. Of course, he's already arrogant. Naturally, he's an arrogant man. But now, the arrogance is accelerated by the fact that he's a sitting president, an incumbent. And then that's how he messed up the entire event.
Yeah. Some would say that Joe Biden came with his 47 years of experience of debating and lawyering, and Trump had no chance. So the heckling maybe was an alternative way.
Yeah, of course, I believe Biden, the experience he has, and then having made his homework very well, he knew how to get Trump make a fool of himself. At least every smart person, even maybe a moderate smart, can easily make Trump lose it. Can easily make Trump lose it to the extent that what he submits may be irrelevant to the topic at hand or to what he intends to achieve as a presidential candidate. Yeah.
Thank you. We wanted to look at the American presidential debate that happened on Tuesday, because they have 6 weeks, the general election, and to the world it matters who the American president is. It matters what kind of policies that particular president is going to have in place, because they affect the rest of the world. Whether they are economic, in most cases it's not even about what shows up as part of their foreign policy. Whatever America decides, because with superpowers it comes with the money, it comes with the power, you find that they influence a wide range of countries to do what they want to be done. So it matters that we look at the American politics and how they are going and who is standing, and what possible policies can that person implement in effect to any aspect of life in this world. And of course, if we contextualize our show, then we look at the possible American presidential candidate and a president-elect, and the effect that they can have on Islam as a religion. Now, in 2013, there was a study done by a group called Center for American Progress, and they found out that 206 million shillings, and this was in conjunction with the polls that were made by the Washington Post and studies from the University of California, Berkeley. They found out that $206 million were dispatched to 33 groups, and these groups are responsible for organizing anti-Islamic demonstrations. They go as far as grassroots organizations. They are validators, misinformation experts. It gets that bad that they reach an extent of getting misinformation experts. Now that is what the people in the media and Muslims in general may refer to as Islamophobia, the fear of Islam, the fear of Islamic policies, and the fear of Muslims in general. And if you look at that, and because the Center for American Progress also stated that Islamophobia has been existing in the US, it has always existed, but it has increased in the past 10 to 15 years. Now you may not relate that with September 11th, 2001, because it would be much, yeah. So what do you think is the reason for the increase in Islamophobia in such states?
One, of course, as I always tell people, interests actually override everything, to the extent that someone may show you something different, but when they are pursuing a totally different thing, an opposite thing. So apparently we all know why the US, actually the West, would not want countries with minerals to be stable, or to have strong governments, or even to integrate, because that would make them stronger and make them protect themselves from any loot or any loss, and then that would give them a higher negotiating power over those superpowers or over the West. So in a way, they continue fueling that confusion, fueling that division, because the more they divide you, the less you become weak, the less strength you get. So they keep fueling that, because even as you talk of Islam and that Islamophobia, you realize that there is something you did not mention, that even Islam itself, they make sure it is always divided between, like Muslims are divided between themselves at all times, so that they can easily keep them weak. When they keep them weak, then they can be able to get what they want from them or from their countries. It's as simple as that, and that's the logic.
But then, if I was to look at it from the angle of keep Muslims divided, so I can get whatever it is I want from your states, from your countries, that's pretty understandable, because those countries run on raw materials and other things that they don't really produce. But then what is the explanation for the harassing the 3 point something million of Muslims that are in the US that are actually US citizens?
Of course, as you fund a campaign to divide them, you have to actually show, you first of all have to kind of provoke them to appear to be bad people. Then when they appear to be bad people, they become vulnerable to some other people. Then after that, they begin to also fight back. Because the moment they feel marginalized, and then they want to fight back to gain some strength, some visibility, and in the process, now you're getting what you want, and that's why you have to fund those who will fuel that. They will fuel the misinformation you talked about, telling them that, look, there is this group there is this extremist group that doesn't want the other one. But remember, they are all Muslims. As you say, there is one group of extremists against moderates. Then you have made a point. Then as you show the other side of whether Christians or the other group, that look, actually these Muslims wouldn't want to live with you. Actually, this is what they think you are. Actually, they don't like you. Then you have achieved the division that you want.
So at the end of the day, you're trying to create a justification that arises from back home, that Muslims are fighting back, Muslims are violent. So if you build it against that background, and then you attacked some Arab country or had an activity, or not necessarily the Arab, it can be in Africa, it can be anywhere in Asia. If you build something against that background, then you're the US, you have the media that presents them as violent people. So the world views them in that particular way, and eventually
yes,
that it's a kill.
Exactly. You will have won a point, because at the end of it all, you'll have won. Propaganda does a lot. It does a lot that even something very good can appear to be poisonous simply because someone has branded it that. And something very bad can appear nice because someone has branded it nice. So by doing that and showing that confusion between Islamic states or between the Muslims themselves, you're already showing that, look, that is a disorganized group of people. Those are the people that think are being harassed, but look at how they harass themselves. Look at how they harass others. Then at one point, if they are trying to also say, we need this, you're like, you see, they are now coming for us. We need to protect ourselves. And the best way we can protect ourselves is attack them and put them to order. But of course, you're not putting them to order. You're just trying to make sure you attack them and have your own order, not the order that actually is real order.
All right. Thank you. For those that are viewing us, for those that keep watching our shows, every single one of them from Monday to Monday, thank you so much. There is not enough thanks in the world. We are taking a very quick break. We shall be back in a minute. Stand by. Welcome back. Thank you. In studios, the show is Islam Now. I'm Asha Majara. We are hosting Councillor Kampura Godfrey. Those that are viewing us online, continue liking the page, continue sharing the programs. You tell a friend to do the same, to like and to share this kind of information. I hope that at the end of the day, it benefits us. So, Akampa, I'm trying to think, what do you think was the contribution of September 11th attacks on the perception of Islam in the US as a state?
One, of course, if deep research was made and media was allowed to be, and truth comes out, you would realize that actually it was never even as the way as they portrayed, as they say it was.
Well, the
It was
world
a different story, yes. But what it intended to achieve, it achieved it. Because it was to give ground, it was to give reasons for America to do what it wanted to do, and indeed it succeeded. So at the end of it all, it opened a new chapter, the so-called war on terrorism, war on terror, and it has given them, I would call it a visa to go anywhere and do anything sometimes, which of course was planned. And I think the plan probably wasn't for a year or two, it was for decades, and it's still ongoing. They're executing the plan.
It's working.
Yes.
What would you say is the contribution of the media to the Islamophobia phenomenon?
Actually, the biggest part, you see, if you plan and keep your plan in your bedroom or living room, no one will ever know about it. When you come out and begin to execute it, then it will begin to work out. Now, the media is actually the biggest tool. It's the biggest tool for US to do whatever it wants to do. So now, as they bring in, as they try to execute their plan, they have to go for that tool. Now, if Islamophobia is part of what, part of the plan, then it has to come through the media for the whole world to really see that there is a problem here. Then we have to do this. Then we have to fight this. Then we have to justify their actions that would follow. So they first show there is a problem here, and now Islamophobia indeed is a problem. So first show that there is a problem, or create one so for the world to see it and make sure the camera is on it, for everyone to know that it is there. Otherwise, it may not be seen that it's there. Then come in and do what you want to do. If you are doing it to cause confusion, then you have caused it. By that fear, then you have caused it. If you are doing it to come in and be a helper, or come in and show that you are actually nice, then you have also achieved it. And the tool is the media that will show the whole world that you are actually doing something.
So to the world Muslim population, should it matter really who wins, whether it is Trump, whether it's Biden? Does it matter who the president is?
It actually matters a lot, because yes, we all know that sometimes there are those plans to execute, and when a president finds them, he has to execute them. But again, there are those presidents that have their personal agenda, or what they had planned and what they had campaigned that they would do. The approaches, okay, the international policy may be the same, but the approaches are different. So one may approach with violence, another one may approach with propaganda, another one may approach with kind of negotiations. Like we always see, like how we saw Obama trying to negotiate, but finally you agree with me. He sank many governments than George Bush, who appeared violent and would actually use violent means to achieve the goal. So probably the kind of president they vote for, the kind of president that comes in, determines the approach. And if the approach gets to be the other violent one, then now if it is now in the Muslim world, you are sure you lose many Muslims because of that. Like, if there is war, and if this person is a warmonger, you are sure millions will die, or hundreds of thousands.
But on that note, say if you were a Muslim in 2008 and Obama is standing against McCain, and you have been looking at the events since Bush came to office, Bush Jr., and they look at the war on terror and the destruction of lives and property it had done, then probably you'd say that I'm going to support an Obama, because there is a likelihood that Clinton did do as much provocation as Bush Senior did.
Yes.
So you root for an Obama because McCain is a Republican, and you have seen war on the hands of Bush Senior and Junior. And then Obama comes in and you're Libyan, or you are Yemeni, or you're Syrian, and then you have what is going on. Now in 2016 we have Trump. He's a warmonger. He has maintained war where there was war, but he has not started one. So who now in this case, because Obama was with Biden, and Biden was in the Congresses that made the policies and decisions that attacked these countries. So who is the better option, Trump, the devil that we have seen, or Biden?
I would of course say, one, when you see the trends, Democrats have been somehow gentle on how they handle their things. Like I would say, they are not extremists. Then Republicans are. If they are pushing to go through here, they will go through, whether you want or not, and they may not even first try to convince you. They only justify. Now, one would say probably, yeah, Trump did not do this. What if he did not do it because he knew he was coming for the second time? And his second term is now to execute. Is now to go for those ones because he will not need anything like, I need this, I need the other. And whatever cries will just be left there. What if that was his motive?
Going by history, Bush started the war in terror before 2004. Then he won in 2004. Obama started the havoc in 2011. And he won in 2012, so the odds would be on his side. Yes,
of course, at the end of it all, there are some other factors. But now we are looking at the effects of one presidency, actually international, the international policy approach and how they differ. Oh, and we all agreed that, okay, George Bush, George William attacked, and then the Gulf War, first Gulf War in the 90s, early 90s. Then we see Clinton coming in, and we see somehow peace coming in, and then we see the son of George Bush, of course, George Walker, coming in, and then we see wars coming up. Actually, biggest wars that America has ever fought. Then we see Obama coming in. Then somehow we don't see Americans getting out of their country or their bases to go and attack. But of course, we also see wars, but that are orchestrated by his government, but no American has stepped his boot on ground in any of those countries. So you realize that the approaches are different. But probably, that's why I said that probably Obama sank many governments and probably indirectly attacked many countries.
But he used lesser resources.
Yes, lesser resources and a more gentle approach than George Bush would use. Actually, it's more gentle in a way that I would say if it was Bush and then he tried to lobby the UN Security Council to come in, and then for Americans and the coalition force to go to Iraq, to Libya, it wouldn't be the Libya we are seeing today. And today we would be seeing American bases in Libya and a war that never ends. So, but the other one, of course, this one, I'm not saying the war has ended, but the other one uses an indirect way, and then used an indirect way, and then Bush used a direct way. Go convince the UN Security Council. If you can attack, proceed and attack. If they agree, of course they always get it through. Then attack. Then the other one is saying, can't we, if you will, using CIA, can't we have nationals themselves cause trouble, and then they rise up, and then we just strengthen them, and then we keep here in Washington or in Pentagon as we watch the drama.
Thank you, Akampa. Now, in probably a minute or nothing less than 90 seconds, why always America? Because we see the panic with socialism. They are greatly insecure. If they call you a socialist in America, then it's really criminal. And then we have Islam. Why always America? Why are they insecure about certain things?
Of course, it's historical. And then when you see the nature of the countries, like now the entire Arab world, actually the best governance that they should be having is what US hates. That should be the best, because I mean they don't have fertile soils, they don't have the best that they can get, so they rely on the minerals they have. Now the best government they should be having should be kind of communism, socialism, like that. And now remember, America has a perpetual war of fighting those forms of governance. So it has to keep there to watch it, so that it never crops up and proves a point and proves to be better than capitalism. And it has been doing so.
You're right. Thank you, Akampa. We are going for a quick break. Guys that are watching, thank you so much. Thank you for keeping us company. Really appreciate that. The show is Islam Now. I'm called Ashabaj and we are hosting Akampura Godfrey. Stick by. Thank you.
And on. Early digital literacy will have a huge impact on self-development and strategic intelligence. .NET Hub is cracking the future's code. Kids Who Code is a youth-based circuit program at .NET Hub. This is an initiative to help the kids begin their engineering journey, guiding them and activating their intuition abilities. Learning how to assemble robot systems, and learning how to communicate with these machines. Learning coding is the only way to stay competitive in this emerging technology growth and global technology market. The future doesn't just happen. Future gets happened. Embrace technology. Have your child enrolled this holiday. The future is in technology, and brighter future lies in transcending it.
You're welcome back. Thank you for watching Islam Now. We look at international events and their impact on Islam as a religion and Muslims, of course, in general. We are looking at the presidential elections that are coming up and the debate that happened, and the United States of America in general, and what America means to the world of Islam. Now, Akampa, briefly, I want us to conclude this topic for today. What do you think it is that Muslims can, because if you have grassroots organizations, if you have validators that be there to convince people that this happened, and even when it means something else in reality, it means this, and then the world grasps that. We have misinformation experts. We have money as much as $206 million being given to organizations as many as 33 to create a terrible image of Islam. What is a non-violent way that can successfully counter that kind of organization that Muslims in the world can put up to counter that sort of message?
Well, of course, you can choose their way. You also go media, and as they lie, you undo the lies. As they say this, of course, as they bring their propaganda, you counter it. But the question is it sustainable?
Exactly.
They have the money, they have the resources. Before you come up, I mean, before you get to have the viewership for people to appreciate the truth, they take over the channel, or somehow disable it, or somehow begin to brand the channel as this and the other, or pay the team that is doing the job. So it's not easy to also beat them at their game, but it's worth an attempt. Yes, it's worth an attempt. And also, I mean, it can also be a game. I mean, it can also be a plan that you do it at any level, not necessarily at an international level, that you have to have BBC do it for you, or an international channel. You can have smaller channels that can do it. But remember, these guys are everywhere. so they can also get down to the grassroots, as you were saying. So the job is not easy, but I still believe that is the best. Then two, it can start with our children as we grow them up. We tell them what happens. The way Israel does it, that as you grow up, they make you appreciate that the Palestinian is an enemy. If a Palestinian hasn't attacked you, an Israeli father can turn around and attack you and say it's Palestinians that have attacked you. So we can start training them and showing them that this is the thing as they grow up. So that maybe they can also do it to their children until when it grows, but it's also not easy because at the end of it all, a lot of things that we do, ranging from technology, the funding, the survival, is from those the West, including actually health systems or machines that we use to have our health kept well, including the equipment that we use on a daily basis, including probably what we are using here may be made from the West. So we also have to know that. But again, since some countries can come up and also begin to build their technology, they can also build a parallel technology, of course, amidst that fight, until we believe one day they can be there.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I'm going to echo the same thing I say here every weekend. You're a Muslim, you're a citizen of the world, you have the responsibility of knowing. It's not a privilege. It's not something you can do because you want. It's not a right. You need to make it a duty. You need to know what happens in the world. These events, you need to know them by heart. You need to have a deeper insight. Look at different sources. If this has happened, what is the BBC saying? What is the Washington Post saying? What are the different people that are experts in that particular field saying? You need to know, because knowledge is the most important weapon that you can use to combat these. They are great forces against Islam. They are great forces against Africa. They are great forces against weaker countries. You need to learn if you're from those countries, or if you think your heart is just enough to fight for what is the truth. You need to research. We have phones, we are the internet era, we have the data. Please acquaint yourself with things that matter. Now, Akamba, as we leave, I want us to look at what has been happening in Uganda. With, of course, the National Unity Platform, they have been choosing candidates. The form, whether or not you agree with that, I don't know. But what is your view on the flag bearers that have been picked?
In the National Unity Platform.
Yes.
You see, in the contrary, I have a different view about what happens around. One, I don't subscribe to any party, and I may never maybe subscribe to one, because I believe we are a heterogeneous nation.
Yes, we are.
With more than 50 tribes and probably 50 languages. Do we really need to create another thing that is artificial to divide us when we already have natural divisions, tribe, clans?
You're one of those people that believe in the movement system, but it should have stayed.
Yeah, single party system, not necessarily the movement system, but since it's the one that brought that came with single party system,
Uganda,
yes, it may be branded differently, but single party system, so that we have the unity. Do you realize that when we had that system, we had a better government than we have today? There is confusion. As you were saying, flag bearer for NUP, then NUP is fighting FDC, then before you realize FDC is fighting DP, or DP is fighting, and then the other side, NRM, is watching them and just laughing at them. Yet, if we were that united, we would look at the leader we want in unison. I mean, as a united force, get the best we want from ourselves, send him to do to serve us.
Yeah, well, it goes back to what happened earlier this week, because they picked people, then 2 days later they said we are re-evaluating, then they picked two. So what we have with its irregularity as a heterogeneous state and not seeing the necessity of having it notwithstanding, should it have happened that way? A primary is the better way?
Definitely no. And probably it's because, of course, you're not taking time to examine why did it happen that way. The moment they, like apparently, if NUP thinks that you are relating with NRM, even if you have already gotten the flag, they can turn around and use any excuse to get you down. And actually NRM does the same. If NRM realizes that you're much closer to opposition, or probably you are there but not there, they try as much as they can to undermine you, to the extent of funding a non-flag bearer. Someone who was, I've seen it in Chinchiz East, West, my constituency. Or even when you are independent-minded, just you're NRM, you love NRM, but you're independent-minded. They believe you're a threat. Now, the same is happening in NUP. That if they think you are closer to NRM, they think you are not up to the game, or you have some disagreements with them, on principle, by the way, they still feel they should undermine you and bring you down. And those are the causes of someone who has already gotten a flag, then you bring them down. Then two, the question would also be the way they get flags. Is it even the right way anyway in a democratic society? If you did not convene and then vote for this person, then their legitimacy is questionable. That is why you can easily bring them down. Otherwise, someone who was voted for, they campaigned and then members voted for them. It wouldn't be easy. Otherwise, if you try it, then you're risking court, and court would nullify your decision. But here it can't, because there is no basis.
Okay, thank you, Akampa. The show is Islam Now. We sit here every weekend. Saturdays we have come to the end of the show. But as we leave, we have this. I always say that if you come up and you say that you're a political alternative to an establishment that has been existing as long as the NRM has been existing, present to the people something better. Present to the people something more democratic if you think we need more democracy, or something more uptight if you think that we need more uptightness. Guys, thank you so much for keeping us company. Please share the videos, please like the page, invite someone to like the page. You keep doing that. Thank you for for staying with us every weekend. I'm called Ashaba Ajara. We've been hosting Akampa Godfrey. The show is Islam Now. See you next weekend.